I sometimes think people have too low a bar for what unique is. Okay. And up until this week, I was thinking about something being unique or not unique as being a sliding scale from one end to the other. So on one end, you've got plagiarism, and then you go into kind of generic, and then you go to distinctive, and then you get to unique, and then you get to weird, and then like alienating, and then just noise, random noise. Okay. But it's not as simple as that. I was like, something about that, it's not quite working for me. And I realized that what it could use was the wonderful and very useful model of this is called a Johari window, apparently. But you'll know there's lots of these around. There's like important and urgent. There's all kinds of different ones. But I was like, let's see what happens when we put this problem that I had in my head of understanding what's going on into one of these models. Now, remember, with a model, just like the music machine, it's not real. It's just a way of understanding reality. So it's much more complicated than this, but essentially it's a good way of us understanding what's going on. So on the x-axis here, we have a consistent style. So a consistent style would mean that all of your music has the same style. And on the other end, we have an inconsistent style. So in other words, different pieces of music just sound very different in terms of style. On the y-axis, is that the wrong way around? Sorry, that's the y-axis. Which way around is it? I've forgotten.
Up, down is y.
So yeah, I am right there. Just completely like, I had a brain fart. All right. So on the y-axis, we have generic at the bottom and not generic at the top. So obviously generic is, okay, this is a piece of house music and nothing else. This is a piece of drum and bass, which according to somebody that Tim met at a festival is literally going to be the music of the future. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not that it isn't going to be the music of the future as well as everything else, but it's almost like this guy had never heard it before or something and thought it was new. And I'm like, I think I heard my first piece of drum and bass in around 96. So anyway, so generic is like within a specific genre, right? And not generic is not within a specific already existing genre. So if all of the tracks are different, so for instance, you make a piece, like one piece of music is house, another piece of music is drum and bass, another piece of music is rock, right? Another piece of music is this and that, in existing genres, then your music you could call eclectic. You're an eclectic artist. You're not a unique artist, you're an eclectic one. That is not unique. That is eclectic because you are making different pieces of music in existing genres. If you have an inconsistent style, but none of that music is generic, then I didn't really know what to call this, but you are a random artist. Right? So another way of putting it is genreless, styleless. It's basically nothing, right? It's just, I don't know, you're making stuff. Now, I, funnily enough, say that actually in my search for a unique style, often I would say that this was where I ended up. So you're not a unique artist, you're random because none of your music is the same as any other of your music and is also not in a genre. So it's just not understandable to people. If, however, your music is within a genre and it has a consistent style, then you could say, depending on exactly how generic it is, that it is distinctive. Now, this is a bit tricky, this one, because if it's really, really, really generic and it has a consistent style, it could actually not be distinctive, right? But most people, I would say, if they're working within a genre, they do it in a certain way. And if you were really familiar with that person's music, you could probably tell that it was that person doing it in that genre. So in other words, if you've got a really close friend who makes progressive house, for instance, over time, you could probably tell when you hear a piece of progressive house by them that it was by them because they do it in a specific way. But it is generic and it has a consistent style. Now, Within these different quadrants, there are various different versions. So if you go all the way to generic and all the way over to consistent style, then you've probably got a purist. Yeah, a genre purist. So it's like, no, this is the way it has to be. And there's nothing else it can be. And if it's not that, then you're not a true techno. You're not. You are wrong. You're a bad person. You're evil. How dare you destroy this genre? Which, by the way, was actually destroying another genre. But how dare you do this? You're breaking all of these rules. Which, by the way, somebody else broke in order to create this genre. Yeah, so you're a purist, right? Before I talk more about that, let's actually go to your music isn't generic, but it has a consistent style. Well, then it is unique. So all of your music sounds like itself. The way it sounds isn't determined by a genre. Now, I'm not saying that necessarily you must, and this is right, and this is wrong, or this, or even this. It's up to you where you place yourself. I mean, personally, I'm just do not like purists. Just in almost any area. Politics, religion, parenting, toys, anything. Washing. It doesn't matter. I don't know why I came up with washing, but it doesn't matter. Purists, just to me, it's just authoritarianism, right? So I would encourage you not to be a purist because it's a mistaken idea of how the world works. Aside from that, though, and again, that's my opinion. If you want to be a purist, it's fine. You're wrong, but it's fine. But aside from that, it's up to you where you put yourself on this quadrant thing, okay? Because if you want to stay within a genre, but you want to push into kind of doing unique things with that genre, then you could be a genre innovator, somebody who is leading in a particular genre. You're within the bounds of the genre, but you're pushing into being more unique, but you're not completely unique. I mean, if you're kind of pushing even further into the unique, I mean, this is often where you will find the genre creators. If it becomes popular, then you can possibly create a genre by going beyond the genre. So you're still kind of understandable to the people within that genre, but you're creating your own genre. If you're all the way over here, I suppose this is what you would call an auteur. It's someone who's just in their own space. They're not doing anything like anyone else. If you're kind of more in the distinctive area, but you're possibly mixing genres, other genres, then you're a genre bender, a genre hopper. Oops, genre hopper. So I'm not saying that I want to be here. Personally, this is where I want to be. Probably not over here, but not all the way over here. Not there, but probably sort of squarely in I have a consistent style and it's not generic. Okay. But that isn't right. That's not what I'm telling you must do. It's up to you because, what you do with your music might require that you are more in the genre. You stay within a genre. If you're playing like a DJ, for instance, you might not want to be completely different from everyone else. Right? But I'm not in that space anymore. That's not what I want to be doing. So I'm interested in the top right quadrant, right? So it's up to you where you place yourself, where you want your music to be.